Okay, today I'm gonna do a little review on this multi-tester. It's called multifunction tester, and the model is MTT-V like Victor 1. I just got it, and it came like this, and this part was sunk in quite a bit, so I didn't know where to put these other items. So uh, you just have to lift it up, and there are these little notches, and then so I used a little screwdriver to pop it out. So then you pop it out like that, and as you can see, it just has a rows of pins on the bottom. This one here is for the infrared supposedly, and this one is the ZIF socket, and it goes in as follows. And so there we go, there it is. And you can measure transistors and whatever. It came with these test pieces, as well as a bunch of other this LED capacitor. It also came with these leads that you can lock in here, and have you can then reach a little farther, or if the part that you want to measure has farther legs, or they don't fit in here, they're too short, or whatever. The problem I'm having with this is that I cannot get the infrared to work, but I'll leave that to the end. So how do you use this? Well, they tell you to push this button for a couple seconds, and then here comes the ZIF socket, and then you can unlock the ZIF socket. In this case, I'm going to put this MOSFET in here, and then close it, and then push the test button, and off it goes, and it finds out that it's a MOSFET, and it shows you the values as well as which pin is which, like the gate and source and drain and so on and so forth. So this part works perfectly. If you take this out, sorry about that, I just bumped my camera again. If you take this out, then you take an LED and then stick it in, close this little arm thing, and then push the button. As you can see, it blinked, and it shows that it's a diode and gives you the values right there. Okay, now that's all perfectly good and no problem there. I'm going to unplug this, and then this here is for surface mount components, so you can measure those just by basically holding them to these little plates. And then it has this infrared little these two buttons. I assume this is mean decrease, and INC mean increase, because I cannot tell from the manual that it's in here. But when I push the button, it says continue to verify, and then it goes back to ZIF socket, and then it finds out that this thing has a capacitor, and it gives you the value in here, and so and including the ESR. But it is not, no matter what I do, and then even if I use the remote control, because it seems to me that there is two openings, IR, infrared, and then there is another little opening in here, and it says high voltage is over here, it says, but then there has two other sensors in here on the top of the unit, and that's the USB cord, USB-C to charge it, because it has a built-in battery. And as you just witnessed, the auto shut off just turned off, but the infrared part, I cannot make it work no matter what I do. I try to hold the buttons down, hold the button and power up at the same time, and it's not really working. It will just measure the capacitance, and it's basically the infrared part of it does not want to work. Now it says probing, so hold on. I'm going to go ahead and grab a remote, and let's see if it does anything. So I'm pushing buttons, and it should detect it. Let me go ahead and do it on this side. And nothing is, as you can see, nothing is happening, which is kind of a sad, but because this particular unit, I was having high hopes for that it would do both measuring parts as well as do the infrared, and then being able to program the remote once I find out the value, and that's how this normally works. And it's kind of a hung, which has not done before. So usually when you hold the button down, it will shut down, but for some reason it's not shutting down yet, and this has never happened before, so I don't know what to do to shut it off. I'm gonna push it a bunch of times, sometimes up to 25 times you push, and then sometimes it brings it out from the dead, but it still says probing. So I'm gonna go ahead and take this panel off, and these buttons off, and I'm gonna stick in the ZIF socket, and let's put something in it. I know this is kind of hard to see because of my hand is in a way. Let's do it this way. It's just going to shorten out these pins. And it's stuck. So I got it somehow stuck in a, I don't see a hole for reset. So I don't really know what to do. I'm gonna unplug this then. Let's see if hold the button down, the power button, a little longer than normal to shut it off, and see if it's gonna shut down. But I don't see an opening somewhere there. Sometimes is a little button, little opening that you can push it and make it reset, basically a reset button, but this one doesn't have one. So I think that's going to be it. I'm going to have to take it apart and disconnect the battery to reset it if it doesn't shut off on its own. So the other thing I wanted to show is this manual, which is not very helpful. It shows nice and color pictures, as you can see, but unfortunately it is not a very helpful manual. Charging a battery, like, who cares, stick it in. They didn't have to waste all this space. And then the infrared stuff is over here, and it shows that you use this button, that's what I had there earlier, and it says once it detects it, but I put this in, power up, and nothing is detected, and so something isn't working right, and I don't know what that something is. But for now, I would recommend that you use it to just measure other parts, and don't use the infrared part of it until we find out from the manufacturer or from the seller, which I have sent an email to help me with the unit and give me maybe a better manual or something. I see a little hole here in the right upper corner. Let me see if that's pushable. No, that's just the infrared. I think these are infrared things, yeah, on the top. This is for the infrared, I think, sender and receiver, and then here's an infrared receiver also on the front. So they did put it on here, but I'm just a little disappointed. Why don't I do it right now? Just take a screwdriver, and I have a kind of interesting screwdriver. You just push this and then get a different size tip, and I needed this larger size. I dropped the screw. There we go. It's still on. At least you get to see inside. So that's that. And let's see if I can take this apart. Something is tugging on. I'm gonna bring this camera up a little bit like this. Let's hope it'll focus. It almost looks like the screen has been glued. That's the LCD display. There's the battery. That's the infrared. I was hoping I can just completely remove this. Let's see if it lets me. There we go. So that's how it looks inside. I don't see any reset button anywhere. And the battery is soldered in place, so that's not going to work very well for me. Okay. This battery is glued in its place. It's a double sticking tape. I would like to cut one of these wires because it's still stuck, and it says probing, but there's nothing. Yeah, it's in a some kind of a stuck mode here. Let's see. Okay, the plus and minus are right here. They're stuck right here, soldered in place. So what I'll do is I'm gonna desolder one of these wires. Okay, I have one of these TS100 soldering irons. I really like this a lot. I use it like 99% of the time instead of my large one. We're going to need some solder. That's a trick, by the way, that I've learned a long time ago. Just you put a little bit of a bead of solder on it, and then put it where you want to desolder. There we go. And now I'm going to solder it back in. And as you can see, it's going to work again. There we go. So it says probing, then it says no thing. Okay, there's a button here. Or it looks like a button. That's a reset button. It just needs to have a hole. There's a reset button right here. Okay, now let me turn this off. And I think I just need to find out exactly where to put this so I just need to make a hole that would basically allow me to push something down here, which is, this is the reset button. See, if I push that button, it shuts it off. So that's a pretty cool find. Alright, first of all, let's go ahead and put the wires back the way they were. They were just laying down right here. And now I'm going to take a caliper and I'm going to make this a little bit higher, and I hope this is going to focus better. Right now it doesn't feel like it's focusing very well. Okay, I'm going to take a caliper and measure how far away from the end this is, and it's 24.1 millimeters. I'm going to zero it out and do it one more time. So it's 23, right there, 24.3 millimeters. And then this thing here goes like that, so that's going to be right in the middle of this piece right here, so that's okay. Now I'm going to measure it this way. Okay, and that's 21.25 millimeters. So I'm going to make a little scratch here. Okay, and now I shut off the caliper, and we're going to drill a hole. Let's get a drill bit. Okay. sorry, I bumped the camera. Oh well. Come on, focus. Focus, focus, focus. Alright. I think I need to readjust this. I don't know why this camera takes so long to focus, but maybe it doesn't have like a spot or something. Alright, I just tossed this on the ground. Okay, so this button here, I should be able to now see that, or I'm going to just kind of eyeball it, and it seems to me that it's in the right spot. Okay, now I need to clean this glass, so I'll just take one of these wipes. And then clean this glass real good. I'm going to check it against the light. And it needs a little bit more cleaning. Okay, now it looks nice and clean. And I'm going to wipe the LCD display as well. Make sure that all the dust is gone. And I'm frugal, so I will clean my glasses. So I can see better. There we go. It's like a daylight now. Okay, so now we need to stick back in this LCD panel. Oh, it would help if I didn't drop things. So I'm going to put the LCD panel in first. There we go, and it snapped into place. And there we go, push it on. That's working. And then I use my tweezers and push the button, and that turns it off. So that's actually not a bad thing, that it actually is on and off, and as well as it's reset, so one doesn't have to take it apart. And I'm just going to leave it like that. The only thing I'm going to do is clean up this plastic here a little bit. There we go. We'll put the screws back on. There we go. We should be back in business. There it is. It's working. Okay. So now I'll stick this in and see if it's not found. So I tried to push this button here. Let me get back to the video camera. So I don't see nothing happening. Pushing the second button, nothing's happening. Pushing both buttons down, holding them down, nothing is happening. I'm going to take a remote and aim at this here and on the infrared and see if I can turn it into infrared, but it's not working. I'm going to try all these buttons, and then it says power off and it shuts off. So now I'm going to hold this button down and turn it on, and it says probing, and it finds a MOSFET, which is really weird. Probing again, and it finds a capacitor, and if I hold this button and hit probing, then it finds the MOSFET, which is not really correct. If I understand right, the only thing on top of the buttons in here is one little capacitor here and there, and I think that's for debouncing, that's called, because when you push these buttons, they sometimes don't make a contact, clean contact. So that's what these little tiny itsy bitsy, I don't know even if it's visible in the video, but it's these two, this one and this one here. It's for debouncing, and it's usually a resistor. It can be a capacitor, but it's usually a resistor. So I'm going to stick in the ZIF socket. There we go. And this time I'm going to leave this these leads in there, and I'm going to push the button that says probing. Let's see what it's going to find. It says probing still, and it says it found the two resistors there. This time it found the two resistors. That's a because that's just basically a short. So it says 0.1 ohm, and this one is 0.12 ohms, and this one is 0.10 ohms. So the distance from here to there must make it a little bit different, but it's working again. We'll put the MOSFET in, and that's a real MOSFET. So there is no way of calibrating this, even though they supplied this and LED and and this electrolytic capacitor. Unfortunately, there is no calibration, so the calibration must happen when it powers up. So alright, let's go ahead and measure this capacitor. Let's see what is it gonna say. I didn't find. Oh, that's because I'm too far. Okay, I need to be in this leg here. Bing. And it's find capacitor 119.5 nanofarad. It's 120 basically. So that's working. And the LED we did earlier, that worked as well. So it's in a working condition again, and this time if it hangs for whatever reason, I drilled that hole underneath here, and I can shut it off by sticking in a screwdriver or tweezers. But I think screwdriver would be a little safer, because these tweezers do have sharp points. So okay, that's all I can do right now. If anybody knows how to make the the infrared IR to work, leave me a message, okay? Thank you very much.